Hi, I'm Aisha Balkase and I'm an artist. And I like to talk about what it means to be an artist. In somehow, I kind of believe that some of us in this whole world are born with this desire to explore different side of the humanity or different side of us, and through that what we call is art, because it fascinates us. A long time ago, when I had a studio at the Block Studios in Sheffield, I was spending a lot of time in the studio space. When I said a lot of times, it's months and months in times just sleeping in the studio, because there was this unstoppable desire in me what wanted to paint all the time. And it was like watching the flock of birds flying. It's just fascinated me so much. I really liked the oil paints then, because it gave me this sensation. It gave a sensation to my fingers. It's like a very tactile, I found, so you can manipulate it with your own hands, and what a beautiful thing to do. So that's not the point, is there? When I was at the Vlog Studios, there's like a studio complex. Each artist had his own studio space, and he had this manager who was also an artist who lived in the studio space, and he had this beautiful garden. He was really into gardening. He made this whole space, the outside courtyard, such a place for everyone to get together. If they need to, in the middle of the night, you can go out and have a fag, have a cup of coffee, and you will find someone to talk. So when I was in the studio, I met with this artist, and he was just there most of the time in his room, locked in his room, and painting on his own. And his work was incredible, just this figurines, creatures bursting out of canvas with all these different colors. And he had one chair, and the whole walls were covered with paintings, and everywhere was just like a flush of materials and oil paints and stuff. He was covered in paint, I was covered with paint. And I asked him, I was wondering why some people decide to be an artist. Why some people, because that's one of the hardest things. That's one of the most difficult things to make money from. But except you can treat art as a business, that's a different side of it. But that comes out of you, just want to do. And it's not about thinking about the other people and what they would want to buy, but just allowing yourself to express what it wants to express. That's so hard to sell, because you need to dress it up, you need to package it in a way that they will speak to other people. And sometimes it doesn't speak to another person, not even one person in the 10 years or 100 years or 200 years. So there's there could be a huge time gap between the creation of that thing, because he desired it, and the consumption of that thing. And I asked him, and his answer was really striking. He said he had an accident, and he bumped his head, and he had a concussion. And since he had this concussion, he just can't stop wanting to paint and create art. And it's kind of a metaphor. If you're an artist who is creating from that center, you have a concussion in your brain. Otherwise, I think it's not really normal to embrace the whole suffering artist, because that's the truth. And the thing is, it doesn't bother you. If you're an artist and if you're doing it, it gives you such a pleasure. It doesn't bother you until to a point that you start to be with other people. You start to go other places. You start other people to see your work and talk to your work and talk to you. And then that becomes an issue, because then the whole thing around money comes. And the society is not very, I don't know, maybe it's just like, it's understanding the society, isn't it? It is understanding, it's bridging the gap between that desire, that product, and the product. It's not even the marketing the product, the packaging the product, and simplifying in a way that it is consumable. Because the artwork and the creation of it is not always as simple. So once I made this painting, I stretched up a big long canvas. Perhaps it was 2.5 meters tall and 2.5 meters or 3 meters, maybe 2.5 meters wide or 3 meters wide, and it's stretched on the wall, staple gun it. I think I did like what is it called, with the rabbit glue. I'm sorry, but with the rabbit glue, I primed it, and because you just need if you just use the unprimed canvas, it will deteriorate. Anyway, it was so wet and it stuck onto the wall, and there was like a metal pieces around it. I start painting all over it, and at the end of it, when I stripped the canvas off, it was a mixture of the paint from the wall, the paintings that I did over it, and some rust on the metal. It was a combination, or it's an art co-produced with the divine structure and co-produced in the studio. I find it really fascinating to work with your all senses. You are acting, you're gathering the sources and resources around you. You are moving with the energy and not holding and letting it go. It's fantastic. Doesn't need skills. It kind of needs the skills of letting go in the moment and trusting. I think I did yoga this morning, and I'm trying to do daily yoga that my partner is helping me. He's waking me up every morning with just like with a coffee or a tea, and he's asking me to come and do some yoga because it's good for me. And I noticed that my intention for the yoga was to let go. And there's so much I'm holding, I can feel. So much I'm holding from my past experiences and things. They're not here. And one of the reasons I started doing art was to allow myself to see what I was holding on to. Use the art, use that as... Okay, I'm going to show you, I think I might have another minute or two, but I'm going to show you one of the more graphical paintings I did, which I'm turned to either my punk rock band's symbol or maybe this channel symbol, but just tell me what you think. I love it. And I did a series of paintings with this. Some of them are much calmer, some of them are like this. Can you see them? Okay. So I call this the original painting, and it is, I think the background is unprimed, just, what's it called? Like more of a, almost like natural, almost unprocessed. It is oil paints with brush. And I thought it was really cute, the little monster thing. I call them musical legs, creatures, are just like deficit in pink. And it makes me feel, I find this painting very stable, and it makes me feel somehow home. You just like centralize home. I don't know if you ever done psychedelics or just something similar or whatever it is. Like sometimes you can hallucinate with too much oxygen, or you let yourself go and you have the sensation of swirling, or you have the sensation of fractalization of everything. And I tell you how it is. You just like, I have these moments of repeating the same experience, which I seek to have it time to time, to realize this is actually how the world is, how we live, and how the reality is. And it is like you have a frame, and you see yourself in that frame with a smile, or you see someone around you with that smile, moment with that smile, you moment in that frame, and then suddenly that frame just repeats itself to an eternity. And then you realize this is not the first time I'm here. I'm living this feeling. It may not be the same people, it may not be the same environment, it may not be the same place, space, the same sensation as a tactile thing, but this is not the time I'm living this. And it's a wonderful way to make yourself aware that there's something else to discover about yourself, perhaps about the life or the other person or the real relationships or interactions. That's why when you go to a museum and look at the pieces, it comes to the job description. That's